and welcome to Play Hard and Love Big Radio, the official podcast of Spada Yoga and Sup in Folsom, California. My name is Katie Clark, and Nick and I created this podcast as a way to inspire you to live your best life. We love sharing our stories. We love hosting guests and sharing their stories so that you can gain some insight and inspiration to apply to your life. Before I get started, I want to invite you to Awaken Yoga Training Program, which starts February 1st, 2024. It's an amazing program. It's not just a program where you learn to teach yoga, although you do learn to teach yoga. It's so much more than that. It is really a life-altering, transformational, self-development journey. So if that interests you, definitely reach out to us right away so we can get you more information and answer any questions you might have. We are approaching the 10-year anniversary of Spada Yoga and Sup, and it has me feeling very reflective. I'm looking back on my journey, and it inspired me to do a podcast on what yoga has done for me and how my journey has gone. And my hope is that in sharing my story, that you can apply the principles of yoga off the mat in a more impactful way for yourself and for those that you care most about. So just a little short background on me. I started my practice in 2010. I started teaching yoga in 2011. I did my first training program in 2011. Since then, I have participated in many yoga trainings, and I have co-facilitated many yoga trainings. I have hundreds of hours of experience both teaching regular weekly classes and facilitating programs such as the Awaken Yoga training that we offer at Spada Yoga and Sup. And I share this because as I look back on my journey through yoga, I was thinking about how it is that I decided to do my first yoga training. And for me, really, when I started yoga, it was very much physical. It was very much for the workout. I enjoyed the feeling at the end of class, that kind of yoga buzz, whatever you want to call it. And I also enjoyed the way that I was able to do yoga as my workout. It was like the first workout that I ever really looked forward to doing. And it wasn't a struggle to do. It was something I wanted to do. So because of this love for the practice in the physical sense, I decided to delve a little bit deeper. I was going through some personal, just kind of turmoil at that time in my life. I had several failed relationships with the wrong type of guy. I was partying a lot. I was just feeling kind of lost. I was, in my late 20s, so not still in college, but sort of operating in a college-like way in terms of my personal life, like out every weekend at the bars, definitely not hanging out with the right crowd that was supportive and good for me long-term, and not feeling very connected in any of my relationships. The friends I had at the time, boyfriends, things like that. So I signed up for a 40 days program. And in that program, it combines the physical practice with meditation and inquiry. And it was that combination in that 40 days program that really showed me that I am in control of my life, that I can make simple changes. I can take things out of my life or add things into my life to make my life better. And at the end of the day, it's up to me. And I can't blame my situation on anybody else. I can take full control of that. And in that 40 days, I had huge, huge shifts. And right after the 40 days program is when I decided to do my first teacher training. I wanted to share what I had experienced in that 40 days program with other people, and also just regular yoga classes with other people, because that's how I first fell in love with the practice. So fast forward, Nick and I opened Spada Yoga 10 years ago almost, and it's been a ride. It's not always been easy. It's not easy having a business in the first place, your own business. And it's not easy running a business with your spouse. It's definitely, at this point in time, it is working well for us in terms of our relationship and our work relationship. Over the 10 years that we've been doing this, we have really learned what our roles are. Like, we've really tried to give each other tasks or share ideas, but then divide the work in such a way where we are working from our strengths. So we've definitely mastered running a business together because it's very seamless now in terms of our relationship and how we operate the business. When we first opened, we definitely had more conflict in that realm. And since we opened the studio, we've had 2 children. So our son Owen is almost 6, so he's 6 next month, and our son Sawyer will be 4 in February. So those types of things, having children, having that added work on top of owning a business, there were struggles there. But we've definitely overcome that as well, and we're in a really good place with a work-life balance. And why I mention this and why I share this is that I think looking back on all the trainings that I've participated in, facilitated, and just the yoga practice itself simply has gotten me to a point where I apply the principles of yoga all the time. And sure, I still have moments where I react and say things that I shouldn't say or respond to a situation in not the best way. That happens for me. But I can't imagine how my life would look if I had not found yoga and made it such a huge part of my life 10 plus years ago. I believe that my life now is the way that it is because of the work that I've done. And the work that I've done has been in trainings that I've been in as a student, so as a participant, but also in the trainings that Nick and I have led together. Because what I realized in looking back is that every time we lead a training, we get back into the work ourselves. So as we're asking, questions of the students, we're also inquiring within ourselves. We're having conversations about the questions. We're constantly working on ourselves and revisiting things that hold us back, our fears, our perceived shortcomings, all of those things, the stories that we tell ourselves, all of those things that can be detrimental to physical, mental, and emotional well-being. And it's this constant relearning of the methodology and this teaching of the methodology and this shared experience that we have with each Awaken yoga training group of the methodology that has grounded me into a place where I feel my number one thing that I have gained from yoga, my number one most cherished thing that I've gotten from this practice is my ability to be present. And the reason that it's the most important thing to me, of all of the things that I've learned, there are a lot of things that I've learned and applied and benefited from this practice. But it's my ability to be present that means the most to me. And it's because of my children and my ability to enjoy them and my ability to be with them and my ability to see them in a way that is pure. Sure, they irritate me sometimes. I get frustrated. But at the end of the day, every single night, I am so glad to have these wonderful boys in my life, and Nick included, right? My husband and my children. And I believe that yoga has given me this ability to be present and really see people that I care about, hear people that I care about, and be with people that I care about on a much deeper level. And I'm so, so grateful that I found this practice when I did, because I don't want to miss a moment of my children. And they already have grown so much, so fast. And I can't imagine being in a position where I missed any of that. And I just enjoy them so much every day that I can't imagine being disconnected. I can't imagine working through so much of my own stuff mentally that I'm not even able to listen to them. And I know that that would have been the case if I hadn't found this practice, because I remember what it was like to be unaware. I remember what it was like to not be present. And the only way that I've realized the difference is by becoming aware and by becoming present. Everyone has a different reason for coming to this practice and coming back to this practice. And everyone has a different reason for signing up for a yoga training or a workshop. My why is my family. And looking back, initially, my why was for myself. And you could perceive that as selfish, but at the time, I wasn't in a relationship and I didn't have children. But even if you do have children now and you are in a relationship now, you have other people that rely on you. They rely on you. So that means that you are the first person that you have to take care of in order to take care of them. And it's kind of sad how some people think that it's selfish to take the time for their yoga practice or to do a yoga training even, because it's not. Ultimately, if you dedicate yourself to a certain number of yoga classes per week and you're consistent with that and it's not negotiable, and it's because you know that you need to take care of yourself and that you're going to show up better when you go home, that's not selfish. That is selfless. That is you taking care of yourself so that you can be there for other people. And when it comes to a yoga training like Awaken, I know that one of the number one things that people say that why they can't do it is because of time. But the reality is that you're dedicating 200 hours of your time over a 5.5 month period to the training, to yourself, to improving your ability to be aware, to improving your sense of being present, to the knowledge and the understanding of when you are disconnected so that you can come right back to being connected in the moment and not miss anything. You're dedicating that time during that 5-month period. But what you want to understand is that ultimately, after the training, after you've done all this work on yourself, you're going to have more time. And that's because you're going to be present more of the time. You're not going to be distracted and worrying and like up in your head all the time. You're going to be right there with your people. You're the people you care most about, and you're going to be able to enjoy those moments before they pass you by. So, looking back on all the hours that I've taken away from my family to do trainings, like every time Nick and I lead the training, our kids stay here and we go to Folsom and we teach the training. We're gone the whole weekend. But every single time, it's hard for me to leave. But then when I get back, because I've been working on myself for a whole weekend, I am like, for that whole next month, I am way more tuned in. I am way more peaceful and I'm less reactive and I'm just a better person for them. So to me, it's definitely worth that time away, worth that time for myself to come back and have all of the time that I have with them mean so much more because I'm truly 100% in it with them. So it's not just a yoga training that gives you that. It's also your yoga practice. I know that at this time of year especially, it gets busy. There's a lot of extra things. And I really encourage you to make it that your practice is not something that you give up. You do the practice anyway. In your mind, oh, I don't have time to go to a yoga class. Yes, you do. You do have time. Go to the yoga class, and what you're going to find when you get home is that you have more time. And you have more time because you've taken the time for yourself and you're fully available for others. And you're fully available for your job, and you're fully available for everything you're doing because you're more present, you're more aware because you did that self-care. So I encourage you to find that consistency in your yoga practice, to stick with it. And really, like I said at the beginning, I invite you to join us for Awaken Yoga training starting February 1st. It is not something that you will regret. I can guarantee that. It is one of the best things that you could ever do for yourself and for those that you love the most. Thank you for tuning in to Play Hard and Love Big Radio, the official podcast of Spada Yoga and Sup in Folsom, California. It is available on all of your favorite podcast streaming channels as well as YouTube. So check it out. Thanks for tuning in. Have an awesome day. Have a Merry Christmas. Thank you.